Hey guys, it is TexAgs Rewind. You want to look at the one with the red light?
Sure. I mean, if anyone would ever tell me to look at the one with the red light, but they never have.
They've
You
never
ask
told
them,
you?
and they just kind of mumble stuff like, "Oh, red light, white light, look over there, red light." But it's like the red light's over there, but you said look over there. Like
Red light is always the red light.
That's where you have changed the game here, Nuno.
I'm like a technical director of the show.
Well-
and where do you look now?
Oh, hello. See, look,
There, see, now you know.
never happened.
Now you're
before.
good. So on the show, we did the Go Hour. This guy, Olin Buchanan, good friend of mine, Heisman Trophy voter, all the good stuff there. We said, what the heck happened there on Saturday? We broke that down. Then we got your thoughts on where the program is right now. Plus, we did Around Aggieland, Peter Burns and Tom Hart, and any parting shots about where we are today on a Monday.
I feel like we all feel like that bird looked in the end zone, like disheveled, just kind of had a rough go of it this weekend, smacked around a little bit. But I think this is where it's at now is you wish it wasn't Alabama coming in. Kind of feels like the worst possible time, which sucks because we thought this was going to be the pinnacle for the time being. This was going to be the peak of the Jimbo Fisher era in year 4. And you know what all you had to do to get there was beat a solid Arkansas team and a very average Mississippi State team. You had a devastating injury at quarterback, and then the rest of the guys have been unable to pick up the slack enough, and that's where it's frustrating because you've actually been close in those games when it mattered. I mean, you couldn't get over the hump, and so instead now game day's in Dallas, and number 1 Alabama's coming in to play unranked and A&M team that's 0-2 in the SEC. Not where you thought you needed to be, but now I think the focus has to shift to try and shock the world. But beyond that, you have to shift it to how can this team finish? When can they get Haynes King back? And what's it going to look like then? And are we going to sit back and go, had that injury not happened, they probably would have finished 10-2.
Yep.
Long way to go before that can happen. And they got to get better in a lot of places besides just quarterback. He's not getting any help right now.
That's just a glimpse of TexAgs Rewind.
I think I'm still trying to make sense of everything that's happened. And, look, I think there's a lot of programs that would struggle as soon as they lost their starting quarterback. Now, Clemson still has the guy they thought was going to be that they projected to be.
But they're replacing a stud who went to the NFL like the Aggies did.
But at least they have their guy that they so it's just been that kind of year. That said, I agree with you on the defense part. Coming into the year, I remember we were having this conversation. I was saying, I think you were agreeing with me, and I know Billy did, that I would have ranked A&M somewhere between 15 and 11 because of the new quarterback and the new guys in the offensive line. Because I would say, we think they're going to be better, but if you had those same issues anywhere else, new quarterback, 4 new offensive linemen, you would rank them a little bit further down. But I didn't see what has transpired coming. And, there's injuries are a huge factor. But a team is not the starting 11. The team is, depth. Alabama, for instance, well, they always, have more. But, they've lost some guys on defense. Well, doesn't seem like they're getting any worse. But for A&M, I think you made a really good point. You don't have your starting quarterback, and you've had linemen in and out of the hurt and for various things, and your defense has been kind of hit and miss, and yet you were in 2 games that you lost that you were in the fourth quarter with a chance to either win or tie, and just didn't take advantage of those chances. So if you had your number 1 quarterback, would you be 5-0 now? Yeah, maybe. Good chance.
But in today's college football, I don't know. Because nobody's good. There's 2 teams that are clearly above everybody else. There's a couple of other undefeated teams. But there's more than a couple other undefeated teams. But even the undefeated teams, I'm not convinced with Oklahoma.
Oh, why would you be?
I'm not convinced with Cincinnati. And yeah, they had a nice victory this weekend, but I don't think they'll be challenged for a while. We'll see how their season plays out. So we thought Arkansas was great after what happened. They're not that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything but Alabama and Georgia. And the beat that I'm supposed to know, the Texas A&M beat, I can't figure this team out because it is unacceptable the way they played defense this past weekend.
I agree, and I thought the scheme was flawed. I got it. I understand the idea behind it.
But it wasn't working.
It wasn't working, so adjust. The three-man rush, okay, it worked last year, but this year it wasn't working, and Will Rogers, who's no longer, when he was in there, I mean, last year was KJ Costello, but Will Rogers played. But
that wasn't Aaron Rodgers?
No, it was Will Rogers.
It was, you sure? Because, I mean, he
could have, but but when you're not harassed really at all, and you can sit back and your defense wants to form that umbrella, but I'm going to form that umbrella 10 yards back and invite you to take the 5-yard pass. Well, I am not a mathematician, but I think I know enough that if I can hit 5 yards every time, I'm going to keep getting first downs and just go down the field. I was saying it's like, look, I don't want to play roulette because, I can lose my money too fast, so I'm going to play Keno and just sit there and lose it slowly. I'm still losing. I'm just losing slowly.
I'm still at a loss because this season, no matter what happens the rest of the way, they go on a huge win streak, will not live up to what I thought it could have been.
Oh.
And that is, I don't want to call it my fault because you can't predict injuries, right?
Well, there's a million ways to do that, but the problem that I think everybody, including if you and I sitting here, and it's Jimbo Fisher and players' toughest task, is the problem is who's next. If you flip the schedule around a little bit and you put Alabama the week before and by the way, I'm not complaining about the schedule. This was as laid up a schedule. Part of the frustration, it was as laid up a schedule as A&M could ever have. You had some linemen that didn't want to come back, that didn't get drafted. You have your starting quarterback go and get hurt in game 2. And it's been, I had someone tell me that we were making excuses. It's like, I guess they're just not paying attention to the importance of these things. You don't have your linemen come back. Arkansas has players come back in droves. There's, certainly a difference in that one. If you don't think losing your starting quarterback has the potential to be devastating, look around college football this year or any year for that matter. But the schedule was laid up, and that's part of the frustration. I mean, this was set up perfectly. Now, you would love to have returned some O-linemen and a QB, and that was our big concern in terms of what could hold this team back, not what would make them bad or fighting to make a bowl game or trying to stay out of 7th place in the West. But you certainly thought that could be what would hold them back, right? But the schedule was laid up there. But I'm just saying, the reason it's hard to kind of sit here and go, oh, how do they get this turned around, is because of the behemoth that's just standing in the doorway right now. As you're trying to get out of this panic room, I guess you'd say, and they're right at the doorway is this giant elephant with a number 1 on his chest with Nick Saban riding it, and you're not getting past that. So it's like, before we can see any kind of light at the end of the tunnel, you've got this game Saturday night. And man, to add to the kind of, how disheartened we all feel and how frustrating it is you thought this was going to be the game.
Well, that's the stress that the air raid puts on you. If you're going to blitz, they get rid of it quickly enough. And once again, just trying to set the table here. The air raid was run as efficiently as possible Saturday night. You give credit to the offense for being a well-designed offense with a quarterback who knew how to make plays. And of course, if a defense is disruptive, then they shouldn't be that effective and efficient, right? So, Of course, defensively, you've got to do more. But that's the stress it puts you in, is because you send an extra man or two to try and disrupt them, and then that usually leads to man coverage. Or it's really hard to get to them because the ball can come out so quickly. So it has designed answers for bringing that pressure. I thought we would have seen I thought we would have seen more pressure from bringing 27, I forget his name, I don't have it in front of me, down in the box and using him as a defender to create some advantages and to get in the backfield. But instead, they used him more as a guy, and Jordan pointed this out in the second half, almost like a robber. Like, we're going to take away the crossing routes by having an extra defender to help on those crossing routes. And they did a really good job of that. But that left a little bit of grass in the flats, a little bit of grass for those sit-down routes, kind of like where a curl route is usually run. And then next thing you know, you got man coverage on the outside. I just don't think it's as simple to say we should have blitzed more, because it's hard to blitz that offense as quickly as they get the ball out and as many wide receivers as they have on the field. There's a lot of options for Will.
Well, it's also, anytime an opportunity, somebody's going to throw it 60 times, you're going to have busted coverages at some point. I was a little shocked that Mississippi State had a little bit more advantage a little bit farther down the field than they've had. A lot of it has only been, these 2-3 yard passes, and they were able to get a little bit more yardage of these completions. But again, I think all of it stems from the offensive side of the ball, guys. I mean, you're not able to get sustained drives. The defense is out there for a bajillion, plays, and you're just going to get tired. And to me, the mark of why Jimbo was the right guy and not Kevin Sumlin was because, hey, we're going to be able to run the ball. Like when tired, we're the bully, right? We're going to make you want to quit because we can recruit well. We got these great facilities. This is our scheme. And when that doesn't come into play, I mean, it's a problem. And here's the deal. I mean, the reason why A&M is facing these teams right now and the way they're playing is A&M has elevated themselves into such an echelon to where they are one of the teams that you cannot wait. When you see on the schedule, I want to play them, right? Like they after last year, after Jimbo and what he's brought in these recruiting classes and how great Kyle Field is and the fans, Texas A&M is a game that everybody circles like in Alabama and like in Georgia. And that's what comes with being a contender year in and year out, that, they're going to have to understand and combat the rest of the way.
Hey, guys, I know a lot of you from Arkansas and the University of Texas love to watch these videos. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just keep bringing our analytics up, like, subscribe, comment.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, they come and they chat. Hey, yeah.
Is that how they say it?
Yeah, they say it just like that.
They look like they say it like that. Yes. And go ahead and go after me. I got bad hair and a graying goatee that I probably should shave, but we got a pretty good gig here, and they're watching our stuff.
And they're helping us make money. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment.
Subscribe to the website even.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that. I'll take your $12.95 a month.
Yeah. Why not?
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you on there, too. We'll
probably kick you off at some point, and you'll hate me, and that's fine, too.
It was a good run, though. It's TexAgs Rewind.